Hey guys, today in our first online lesson, we're going to go over dot plots and then we're going to go over histograms. This is sort of a pretty simple lesson, which is kind of thankful because this is our first one doing online. I'll try to keep this pretty short and sweet, just going over a couple examples and what each of these is and what they're used for. So the first one that we're going to go over is dot plots. Now, dot plots, I can't say I've used them a lot in my life, but they're mostly best for showing small amounts of data. So let me just go over what this all means. This right here is an example of what a dot plot looks like when it's completed. And to show an example, we have a group of college students that were surveyed about the number of books they read each month. The data is listed below. And the good thing about this data right here, like each of these is like, this kid read one book, this kid read two, also two, three, so on and so on. So basically, the good thing about this is it's all in order. It's nice when it's all in order because we are putting them in order here. So to just kind of go over a summary of what dot plots are. The data can be displayed on a dot plot. Each data value is represented with a dot above the number line here. The dot plot shows the frequency of data values. So one book was read once. Two books were read 1, 2, 3 times, so on and so on. Frequency is just the amount of times something occurs. Dot plot should always include a title, reading frequency survey, and an appropriate scale. So scale is, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, go on and go on. So dot plots are used for smaller sets of data and data that is called discrete. Now, discrete data is when only certain numbers are possibilities. Technically with this question, you could say you read half of a book, but here was wanting full books, 1, 2, 3, 4, not 2.3, not 5.4 books. So here the only options were 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and so on. So if we were to start a dot plot from scratch, here's an example. It says, Ms. Ferrante surveyed her class and asked each student, how many siblings do you have? The results are displayed below. So part A here is wanting us to construct a dot plot. And then it's just asking a couple questions about the data after we have completed it. So where to start? We have a bunch of data here. It's out of order, so it's kind of annoying. It's going to be a little bit more time consuming because of that. What I would suggest is to look for the low number and the high number. And let's look. So here we have the 0. It's definitely going to be our low, right? Because 0 is obviously the lowest number of siblings you can have. And then if we look at the highest, we have a 4 here. Oh, we have an 8, and it looks like that's going to be our highest. So when we decide the numbers that are going to be down here at the bottom, let's start with 0, and we're just going to go, we look and see we have 1s, we have 2s, we have 3s. Let's just go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's going to be our high. Okay. So from here, we're going to start putting the frequency that each one of these happens. So 0 is going to show up once, twice, 3 times. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. When we look at 1, a good way to do this is to kind of mark off what numbers you've used already. It just makes it a little bit easier when you're going through each time. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 shows up once, twice, 3 times. once, twice, 3 times. There's 1, 2, and that's it. 1, 2. And then the only thing left over is this 8, which goes all the way over here. So that's our dot plot right there. So this part, done. What observations can you make about the shape of the distribution? Basically with this, most of the data is going to be right here, right? So everything is clustered to the left. But there's this one guy over here. Are there any values that seem outside of the norm for the distribution? Justify your answer. So this guy right here is something called an outlier. One of the lessons coming up this week is going to discuss outliers a little bit more. But the value of 8 is an outlier. Basically, it means it's something a little bit out of the ordinary compared to all of the other data. Like there's this huge gap here, and then one person was like, I have 8 siblings, and you're like, whoa, that's a lot. I went to school with a couple of kids. I played hockey with a family of literally like 10 and 11 kids. The one girl I went to school with had 9, in her family it was 10 girls and 1 boy, which is crazy. Okay, continuing on. The next thing we're going to go over is histograms. Now, histograms, right here, they're used a little bit differently than dot plots. They're used more for intervals. So let's go over some of this information here. So a histogram is a bar-style data display showing frequency of data measured over intervals. So whereas dot plots were more just like, 1, 2, 3, 4, histograms are more for like, 0 to 10, and then 10 to 20, and then 20 to 30. So those are intervals. Each interval must be the same width. So if you're doing every 10, it's got to be 10, 10, 10, 10, or 20, 20, 20, 20. You're always going to want to have a title as well as labels on the Y and the X-axis. And the thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to choose the appropriate scale on the Y-axis and the appropriate interval on the X-axis. So frequency is usually our Y, and then our intervals are on our X. Now, histograms are mostly used for larger sets of data, whereas dot plots were for smaller. And this is continuous data. Continuous data just means that there's no, it can be decimals, it can go on forever. There's no choose 1, 2, 3, or 4. It could be 1.2, it could be 3.4, it could be 5.492. It's continuous. It's data where there are more possible values. So let's go over how to do this. So here, example 2, the same students from the first example were also asked how long in minutes it took them to complete the exam. The data is shown below. So this is talking about how many minutes it took them to complete a certain exam. Now, again, it's difficult because this is out of order. And then if we look at our table here, we have a table and then we have our XY plane. So if we look at this, the intervals are 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, and 70 to 79. So these are intervals. So basically, any of the sets of data that go between 30 and 39 are going to go right here. 40 to 49 go right here. So let's just go through this. One way to keep track of this is just to do like the, if you're counting like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a good way to do it. So let's go. 40.3, that's going to go here. 42 is also going to go here. 43 also here. 44 also there. 45 there. 55 is going to go here. 64 go here. 70.3 is going to go here. Got to keep track. 72 also here. 32 is here. 44 is there. 54, 71, 66 is here. 35 is here. 67 is here. So we have our frequency now. We have our data, our frequency. We're going to make our histogram. So frequency is going to go on the Y. And then our intervals, or the minutes, is going to go here. Now these are intervals of, 30 to 39. Technically it's like intervals of 10. So let's go through this. So because the lowest is 30, we can just start our graph right at 30. We know that it wants to go up to 80, let's say. So if we skip every 2, that should be enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that should work. Okay, so for every line here, we have an interval of 10. I'm going to do this in different colors just to make it a little bit more clear. And then our frequency, our low is going to be, 2. Let's just start at 0 to call it that. And then our highest one is going to be around 6. So let's just start 0 right here. And then we'll skip every 2 as well. Do I want to do that? 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have our frequency numbers. So from 30 to 40, that happens twice. So from 30 to 40, the frequency is twice. I'm going to change colors just so you can see. From 40 to 49, that's going to be 6. So it's going to go all the way up here. Now you're going to see why I'm stopping right here in just a second. Changing colors for 50 to 60. So that happens twice. So from 50 to 60, it's orange. It happens twice. Change of colors. 60 to 69 is 3. So from here to there, it's 3. And finally, from 70 to 80, that would also be 3. And if I just made it a little pretty, if I color this stuff in. So that's how we make a histogram. It's really not that bad. It's a little time consuming, especially if you want to make it look a little better, but should be good. All right, let's continue. We only have 2 more to do, guys. All right. So this one says, practice. Below are recorded high temperatures in Fahrenheit for each day of October in St. Augustine. Construct a dot plot. So it wants a dot plot. So we know that a dot plot is going to have a number line on the bottom. And we're going to take a look and say, what's our low and what's our high? So if we look at this, we're going to see that our low, if we look, oh, 76 maybe. Yeah, our low is going to be 76. And our high, 89. Anything higher than 89? No, we'll say 89. So we want to make a number line from 76 to 89. So 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 4. That's a little annoying. 86, 87, 88. I'm running into the image. So 89. It's a little bit easier if you put these little notches. You can see it a little bit better. All right, so there's our number line. Now you could make a chart if you wanted to do that and keep track of everything, kind of like the frequency chart. Or we could just kind of go through and just make dots for each of these. So 80, 85 is going to be right here. 78 is right here. 80. It might be a little boring right now because I'm just dotting things, but let's just go through this. So we just did 78. Let's do 76. 81. Oh, I just see an 81 right there while I'm at it. We have an 89 and an 88. 87 and 80. Another 81. 86, 89. 87. Three 84s. 1, 2, 3, and finally an 81. So that's a dot plot. The only other thing that we've forgotten is a title. So this is high temperatures in St. Augustine in October. And really that's it. One more. Of course, the next one is going to be a histogram. This will be a little bit more time consuming, but thankfully it's already set up our intervals. And notice it also says intervals of 10 points. So even if it didn't give you this, you know that you would be doing 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, intervals of 10. All right, so let's go through this. Again, it's out of order, so it's a little more time consuming. So let's just go through this. We have a 57, which is going to go here, 62, 48, 56, 45, 68. All right, so I have all my frequencies. I know this is kind of annoying, guys. It's a little bit time consuming. Histograms and dot plots. There are better ways to do data, but this is a good kind of introduction to simpler statistics and how to keep track of data. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. This is just kind of the starting point for a lot of people that are getting into data analysis and things like that. All right. So we have our frequency. We know our intervals. It's going to go from 20 to 80. So why don't I start with 20 right here? And then I'll skip every few lines here. So we'll have a 30, we'll have a 40, we'll have a 50, 60, 70, 80, and then finalizing at 90. Now we know that we're going to have a y-axis here. That's my y. This is my x. This is going to be our frequency. And looking at our lows, we have a low frequency of 1, and we have a high frequency of about 6. So let's just count up to 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Of course, 0 is right here on our x-axis. Okay, so from 20 to 30, that happened once. Now, the next one, 30 to 40, didn't happen at all, so you don't have to put anything there. From 40 to 49, it's 3. Notice that I'm not finishing that because 50 is another interval. So this happens 6 times. So we're going to go all the way up to there. From 60 to 70, it happened 5 times. So we're going to go up to about 5. And then one thing you can also do is kind of do that to finish off. From 70 to 79, it is 3, so we're going to go up to 3. And then 80 to 89, I'm going to have to reuse a different color here. So from 80 to 89, it happened twice, so we're going to go up to there. And that's how we draw a histogram. So guys, that's the first lesson. Hopefully I kept this kind of short. I'll try to go a little bit faster because I know listening to these videos might be a little bit boring. So I also put the review guide for this. It basically goes over the same information. This is kind of what it looks like on Canvas. So if you'd rather not listen to me like this, which I wouldn't blame you, this information is all on Canvas. So you can do a little bit more of a like self-paced or self-teaching if you want. But if you want to listen to me explain it a little bit more, watch the videos. All right, thanks guys.